Happy Friday, everybody. Welcome into Payoff Pitch, Action Network's MLB betting podcast. Brendan Glasheen, your host, joined today by Charlie DiSturco and BJ Cunningham. Payoff Pitch comes your way every Monday, Tuesday, and Friday during the baseball season. Please rate, review, subscribe, leave that 5-star rating. Give us your feedback. We greatly appreciate it. Trying to make improvements as the year goes on. We're hitting Memorial Day. We start to figure out if you're in it, you're not in it. Are you real? Are you fake? I'm curious if BJ thinks the Red Sox are for real. We'll get there, I think, in this episode.
Yes.
But it's a great checkpoint, measuring stick kind of weekend. You know, they're the cliches, the sports cliches for you. 15-game slate on this Friday. Just side note, we'll get this out of the way now. I'll mention it again at the end. We will not be here Monday. We'll be back Tuesday. So we're taking the holiday off. We're here today. Taking Monday off, Memorial Day. We'll be back on Tuesday. But keep an eye on the Action app. Guys like Charlie, BJ, our other baseball contributors, I'm sure they'll have picks for the Memorial Day slate. We just won't have a podcast. So I want to get that out there now. Okay, here we go. I'm ready to pop gold bottles and watch you guys give out winners today. Video side, I've got the David Ortiz Poppy gold chain shirt on. Without further ado, best bets for Friday. We'll go to BJ Cunningham first. What do you got?
Yeah, let's go Rays -108 against Noah Syndergaard and the Dodgers. I don't think that Noah Syndergaard should really be a pick'em. It's going to be a Rays bullpen game. They're going to lead off with Jalen Beeks. They'll probably throw a bunch of lefties in there. But Noah Syndergaard, I mean, he's just not the pitcher that he once was. His velocity is way down after having Tommy John when he used to throw 97, 98 miles an hour. Now everything is under 93 miles per hour. And so for a power pitcher like him, he doesn't really know how to pitch any other way. And what's kind of frightening about him right now is he's kind of pitching to contact. Like he has a 5.11 expected ERA, but only a 1.4 walk per 9 rate. And his K per 9 rate is extremely low as well. So for a guy who's throwing under 93, pitching to contact against the best lineup in baseball against right-handed pitching is a pretty bad matchup. Now the Rays, their bullpen, obviously, I've mentioned on the last podcast, they're second to last in xFIP, around 4.8. The Dodgers have pretty drastic splits between facing righties versus lefties. Against righties, they're the second best team in baseball. Against lefties, they only have a 320 weighted on base average, which is 19th. So my guess is what you'll see. And, side note, by the way, the Oakland A's are only 2 points lower in weighted on base average against lefties. So that's how bad the Dodgers have been against lefties. But I think you'll see the Rays bullpen throw, they have 3 left-handed arms in their pen. They're going to lead off with Jalen Beeks, and then they have 2 more. I'm guessing you'll see all 3 of them against the Dodgers, and they'll mix and match things very, very well in this game. And Zerillo mentioned this on the last podcast, but the Rays pen throws the most cutters of any bullpen in baseball. Well, that's one pitch the Dodgers have a negative run value against. So I have the Rays projected at -136. So I like the value on them at home at -108.
Very good. Team total is at 4.5 for the Rays. That's like the standard number they've been getting every game. And I still don't understand it. Like they were undervalued to begin the season. As we know, Zerillo said this a week into the season, their World Series odds were halved within, because when did they start? 16. What was their record? 10-0?
13, I think.
13-0. It's so long.
They got to, I think it was got to 13-0, just needed one more win and they didn't get it.
Right. So,
break the record.
And then after that, now like the last week and a half or so, have they been disrespected on the line? Yeah. So, Noah,
if you want to play that Rays team, if you want to play that Rays team total over, I have them projected at 5.1 runs. So, probably a little bit of value on there as long as it's -110 or better.
Yep. Seeing -106.
There you go.
You look around. So, just throwing that out there. What do I know though? Hi Charlie. What do you got for Friday? Best bet.
Hello. I don't appreciate the Oakland Athletics slander in the middle of BJ's best bet, but I will say
that wasn't slander. I was telling them how good they are.
We'll get to the A's.
They're good. They're a good, capable offense, especially against left-handed pitching. But my best bet is the Orioles on the money line at -134 right now. Grayson Rodriguez, I sleep at night and toss and turn and have nightmares about Grayson Rodriguez because it feels like every start I'm on him and I'm believing in him and I'm going back to the well here. His stuff is dominant. You watch him pitch. He's got a good pitch mix, but his problem is his hard stuff has been kind of teed off on. His fastball has an expected batting average over 330, but his strikeout rate has been excellent. And listen, if you look at expected metrics and projections, he's around that high 4 range. But you look at John Gray, and he's a pitcher that I want to fade right now. His expected ERA above 5 compared to 3 actual. He's had a career worse in his barrel rate. His strikeout rate has dropped below 20% for only the second time in his entire career, which was the only other time was during the shortened COVID season. And while his sliders remaining dominant, every other pitch across the board is just grading out poorly. And he's benefited by a bit of luck. If you look at his metrics, an 84% left on base rate, a 243 batting average of balls in play. That left on base rate is 14% higher than his career marks. He's forcing a lot less ground balls, which was usually his calling card, more line drives, more fly balls. So I'm expecting offenses to kind of get to Gray here, despite his lower hard hit rate. And the biggest differential here, you look at the offenses, there's not much difference here when it comes to right-handed pitching. They're both in their lesser splits. But, and I said the biggest differential is the bullpen. Baltimore, they're third in xFIP. Texas, they're down at 27th. So there's a stark difference here. And the Orioles got an amazing start out of Kyle Gibson yesterday against the Yankees. So they will have their entire staff basically available. Maybe not Cano, but Felix Bautista will be available. That top end of the bullpen will be available. So I'm expecting the Orioles to kind of jump out here, continue winning. I mean, this team is electric. This team is fun to watch, and they keep on winning. And I'm going to back them here at -134.
All right. They've won 5 of 6. Nice series against the Yankees. Swept Toronto. Played well against Tampa a few weeks back. That number's moving too at BetMGM -140. So I think I want to go get Baltimore now before 7 o'clock tonight. That number could keep moving. All right, moving on. Fade the public, aka are we betting the Oakland A's? Like this, they are them. They are the team we are going to talk about quite a bit this year when it comes to fading the public. But who knows if these guys are actually going to do it? 83% of the bets, 87% of the dollars coming in on Houston over Oakland. Line at BetMGM is Oakland +220. Houston -275 on the money line. You know it's bad when the run line shows 2.5 runs. You can get Oakland +2.5 at -120. You know it's bad. It's the worst 50-game start since 1901. 1904 Senators were 9-41. The 1932 Red Sox 10-40. These A's are 10-40. 10-40. Well, now 10-41 after last night. Losing because of a bases loaded walk that decided the game last night for Oakland. 10-42. I cut them short of loss. 10-42. Apologies. So, and those stats courtesy of our pal Evan Abrams, Director of Research at Action Network. BJ, are you into Oakland tonight? I'll start with you first, because Charlie's the guy with the A's on Friday.
Yeah, no, James Caprielon's coming out of the bullpen again to make another start because I guess you got to throw somebody in this A's rotation. But no, I have really no interest. I mean, Hunter Brown's been fine for the Astros, around a 4 expected ERA. So I projected right around where it is. But a fun little stat here, Charlie. The Washington Senators in 1904, I'm on Fangraphs right now. They didn't have it that bad of, like, I was expecting like, a 7 ERA like the Oakland A's have right now. Apparently pitching was really good back in 1904 because as a team, they had an ERA of 3.6 and their batting average was 220. So they must have turned things around in the middle of the season. Maybe I can do it, filter it over the first half here. Not sure if I can do that for a 1904. 1904 team. Oh, I can. Here, look at this. Oh yeah, they were really bad. Oh boy. Yeah, that's really, really bad. Okay. Yeah, it was around 7 when we filter for the first half of the season versus the second. So they must turn things around there in the second. But yeah, no, it's a pass for me on the Oakland Athletics tonight.
Okay, Charlie, it's Friday. You've on this podcast, you're a scheduled Friday co-host of Payoff Pitch, and you have bet the A's. Is it 3 total or twice? And you've hit them twice on Fridays.
On Fridays, I'm 2-0. I gave him out against the Mariners on, I believe it was Tuesday when I filled in for DeBundo while he's doing his cross-country Montana trip. And they lost by giving up 3 runs in the 5th and losing 3-2. But
I love the slight. Like, DeBundo being away in Montana is why your bet didn't hit.
I mean, it's 100. I came on the podcast. I gave out a loser on the Athletics because it wasn't a Friday. It wasn't my scheduled day. And it's all Anthony's fault. But
everything is always Anthony's fault, Brendan. You have to learn that.
Exactly. After this day, if I lose, it's all Anthony's fault because he's not here. But anyway, I am not betting the Athletics today. I looked at it. I wanted to. Hunter Brown, like BJ said, has been fine. I think he's due for like slight negative regression, but I'm not really going to bet the Athletics here, especially with given their pitching matchup and just how bad the bullpen has been. I mean, frankly, we saw last night they walked in the go-ahead run. So I'm not going to play anything as far as a side or a total here. I do like a prop in this matchup. And it's Yordan Alvarez to go over 1.5 total bases and to hit a home run. He's at plus money for over 1.5 total bases and plus 300 to hit a home run right now. Against right-handed pitching, he's the second best behind Altuve, who's only played, a couple games this year against righties. He's got a 173 WRC plus a 284 isolated power. So he crushes right-handed pitching, and it doesn't matter righty or lefty, whatever you throw at him, he's going to hit it hard. And I like the chances here. They can't really pitch around him that much. If they do, the offense is just going to get going. And given Altuve's spot back in the lineup now, you can move Pena down and really I make that 1 through 6 a scary lineup. And frankly, the Athletics pitchers deserve to get shelled on day in, day out. They're horrible. So I don't know if anything will change for the Athletics, in the second half, like the 1904 Senators, but I mean, there'll be spots where we'll get them at, plus 200, 220, where it'll be a good spot to back them, but not today.
I'm just waiting, Brendan. I don't know, and this is probably something that Evan Abrams could look up of what the largest underdog ever in a regular season Major League Baseball game is. I want to see if we can get that at some point. Maybe if trying to think if somebody if Tyler Glasnow starts pitching in crazy good for the Rays and they play Oakland, maybe we'll get it. Who knows?
We had a couple of last year. I think we had a couple. The Nationals I hit at plus 300 lines. The Tigers against the Blue Jays was like 330, 340.
Yep.
So I mean, there's definitely been some threes that have been hung that hit.
The Nationals against the Dodgers, the Pirates swept the Dodgers last year in LA.
Best 3 days of the MLB season last year.
That was fun. Yeah, and I remember Zarella talking about him on the pod with Colin Whitchurch. That was fun. Oakland has lost 8 straight. They are 5-21 as a road underdog this year. It's funny, like you both brought this up. When they do hit the ball, when they do win, they score runs. They've scored at least 5 runs, and in their last 8 wins, they've scored at least 5 runs.
I'm looking at it right now. They are literally not the worst offense in baseball. Like I said, they were 20th in weighted on base average against lefties. Cleveland's the worst team against righties. So they're not the worst offense in baseball.
Underdogs for Friday. BJ, who are you turning to?
Rockies plus 185 against the New York Mets in Coors Field. I mean, Max Scherzer, it's starting to fall off here, Brendan. Like, he's really starting to regress pretty hard. He's got an xERA over 4 from the first time since the 2020 shortened season. His K per 9 rate's below 10 for the first time since 2011. So what's wrong? Because he's 38. He was supposed to be, the number 1 starter in the Mets rotation. Well, his velocity is down. This is what happens when you get in your late 30s and near your 40s. I mean, Scherzer's down from 94 to 93 in his fastball, and his slider and his changeup, which were normally sitting around 85 miles per hour, are now closer to 83 miles per hour. So you look at his stuff plus, even from last year, it's dropped from 106 to 102. So the regression is happening here for Scherzer, and now he's going to Coors Field. He has his lowest ground ball rate of his career as well at 28%, going up against a Rockies lineup that has been good against right-handed pitching. I understand the numbers are probably inflated because of Coors Field, but this game is in Coors Field. Like, they actually have a better weighted on base average against right-handed pitching than the Mets do right now. Connor Siebold will be on the mound for the Rockies. Somewhat of a positive regression candidate, has pitched a little bit in the bullpen. Some as a starter, only made 4 starts this season. His ERA is close, getting close to 6, but his expected ERA is about a full run lower. His stuff plus is bad, but his location plus is 103. So he's obviously got good control over his pitches, even though they might not be that good. So for a price of plus 185 for a pitcher like Scherzer that's regressing, that is not the pitcher that he once was, pitching in Coors Field, I think is way, way too large. So I like the Rockies at plus 185.
Early May, just coming out admitting, Scherzer was quoted saying, just don't break. I'm only getting better with this injury. He's dealing with this shoulder injury. But just outwardly admitting that he's pitching hurt. baffling. Charlie, would you care to respond to the Mets slander, the Max Scherzer slander?
I mean, I don't, obviously BJ's not watching the same New York Mets that I have because they're winning the World Series, and after last night's 10-1 win, I mean they're going to win it all. But I should give out the Diamondbacks here as my best underdog, but I'm not, just to get back at BJ. But I do like the St. Louis Cardinals here at plus 105. It's a short underdog, but I don't really love today's slate for underdogs. But you look at the matchup, it's Shane Bieber on the mound for Cleveland. And BJ already mentioned just how bad the Cleveland offense is. They're 28th against lefties. They're at the bottom toward righties too. So it doesn't matter whether it's a bullpen after Liberatore or not. St. Louis, on the other hand, they're 5th in WRC plus against right-handed pitching. And Bieber, we've talked about this on the podcast, I don't know, countless times. His velocity has dipped every single year. His strikeout rate has dipped 41 in COVID to 33 the year after to 25 to now 17.8 this season. So there's a lot of concerns for Bieber, who's in the bottom 5% of all pitchers in hard hit rate and average exit velocity. So hitters are crushing the ball. The Cardinals, they gave off Goldschmidt, Arenado, and Wilson Contreras all the day off yesterday against the Reds. So they're all coming in well rested against Bieber, whose expected batting average is near 300. His expected slugging is above 450, both career worsts. And his expected ERA, it's up at 432. So it's just a big concern for me, at least here. I think he's going to regress negatively, and he's battling some positive luck. So I think it's going to all come back to bite him. Liberatore, he came up, made his first start of the season. There's not much of a sample size right now on him, but if you look at his numbers in AAA, all expected metrics have him in the low 3s. He projects as a high 3, low 4 pitcher. Has good strikeout stuff, a high ground ball rate. So I think the biggest difference here is that Liberatore, he gotten a lot better over year. His fastball's jumped up nearly 1.5 miles per hour. His curveball has been thrown 44 times. It's 77. So a high 90s fastball, a 77 mile per hour curveball is great pitch mix. A .047 expected batting average thus far, 40 times that he's thrown it. So I like the Cardinals here at plus money. I think they should be favored here. I love to fade Bieber. I'm going to continue fading Bieber all season long. So I'm going to grab the Cardinals here as an underdog.
Mets are 16-1 at BetMGM to win the World Series.
Might have to add that. No, I mean, listen, in the grand scheme of things, there are some concerns. There, Scherzer and Verlander.
Oh, are there?
Yeah, BJ, don't give me this. Talk about the Mets pitching concerns. If we talk about the Red Sox pitching concerns, there's a lot there too. With Nick Pivetta, Corey Kluber, Chris Sale.
You said his name. He said it first, BJ. He said Chris Sale before we did.
Yeah, it's plus money probably for if you're betting on which payoff pitch co-host says Chris Sale first. But there's a lot of concern with the Red Sox. There's a lot of concern with the Mets. I mean, there's a lot of concern for like a lot of teams. Everyone has like one weakness right now, except for maybe the Tampa Bay Rays.
No, injuries the Rays now are dealing with. True. So,
but they got. I mean, Bradley's has some great stuff. Glasnow's back. So as long as if Glasnow stays healthy, it's pretty big.
All right, let's whip around some final bets before we leave for the weekend. BJ will go first. Final bets. I don't know if he's betting the Red Sox, so let's find out.
No, they're inflated. They're like minus 150 on the road against the Diamondbacks. That's too much. The market's caught up. Brendan, they know how good the Red Sox are now. They know how good Chris Sale is. I like the Pirates plus 143 for the first 5 innings against the Mariners. It's going to be Mitch Keller versus George Kirby. Probably the best pitching matchup of the night. Quite frankly. And I'm not so sure there's a huge difference between these two starting pitchers to give, the Pirates essentially being over plus 140 on the road. Cedar Rapids, Iowa's own Mitch Keller this season, 2.8 expected ERA, stuff plus 109, pitching plus stuff plus 104, pitching plus 107. George Kirby, he's been xERA of 2.9. Stuff plus of 102 and pitching plus of 109. So what's the huge difference between these two teams? And quite frankly, the Mariners offense has not been good against right-handed pitching. They're 25th in weighted on base average. The Pirates are just slightly better at 21st. So I think the price is too large on my good friend Mitch Keller here. So I like the Pirates at plus 143 for the first 5 innings. White Sox and Tigers over 4.5 for the first 5 innings. Lance Lynn versus Joey Wentz, just 2 pitchers that have really struggled this season with xERAs. North of 5. So I think that total's just a tad too low. Nationals and Royals, I understand that these two offenses are bad. But it is our guy, Patrick Corbin, against Jordan Lyles. And I think that's all you need to know. And then I do like the Phillies at plus 130 with Taiwan Walker on the mound, who does have decent stuff plus numbers, although his ERA is getting up there. So those are my bets for Friday.
All right. Pittsburgh, Seattle, lowest total on the slate tonight, 7 runs.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right, Charlie, what do you got? You got a couple of player props as well for tonight.
Yeah, I'll start with the player props since BJ just talked about the Philly Atlanta game. Austin Riley to hit a homer plus 525. I threw a 1/10 of a unit on that, half a unit on him to get over 1.5 total bases at plus money here. I've watched Austin Riley's at bats the last few days just because I've been betting on the Braves or against them or on props and whatnot. And he's completely turned it around from what he had in April. He's a lot better at bats. He's crushing the ball. It's flying off his bat. You look at his recent games, he has 8-game hit streak. He's gone over 1.5 total bases in 75% of that. So 6 games, and he's had a double or home run in each of his last 4. He had 2 home runs last night against Aaron Nola. Absolutely parked them in the bleachers. So Walker struggles across the board. His barrel rate is near 10%. Expected slugging once again above 420, and his hard hit rate is up from last year. He's throwing his split finger more to force more ground balls, but his command has been wonky. And if you can't do that, you're gonna have to rely on your fastball a little bit more up in the zone to generate some chases or some swings. And Austin Riley will be able to crush that. If you look at his rolling WOBA graph, hard hit weight graph, isolated power graph over the last 15 days on Fangraphs, it's just a complete shot up. So he is changing around. So I'm going to try and strike iron while it's hot and just continue to back Riley here. And then just going off BJ's best bet of the Rays, I like him in the first 5 here. Obviously, we touched on how bad Syndergaard is. I don't need to keep hammering him while he's down. But Jalen Beeks gets the start, and we talked about this. If you want to back and fade if you want to fade the Dodgers, you want to do it against a left-handed pitcher. Beeks will get the first time through the order, most likely, maybe just 2 innings. But the Rays are one of the best managed teams, especially when it comes to bullpen usage. So they're going to be smart with how they attack things. I trust their top end of the arms that come in right after Beeks to really get the job done. And I'm just fading Syndergaard here. Number 1 WRC plus are the Rays against right-handed pitching. So I'm going to pay the extra couple cents for the first 5 here. The Rays bullpen has some concern for me. I know, Zerillo's not as worried, but I am about some of the Rays relievers. And then last one, the under 7 in Cincinnati, Chicago. I was really hoping for a first 5 under 4, but it's 3.5 at plus money across the board. The wind's blowing in 10 miles an hour from center. And Hunter Green, he is he's Jekyll and Hyde, frankly. You watch him for 7 innings, and for 5 or 6 of them, he's the best pitcher in baseball. But for like 5 batters, he just smokes a fastball down the middle and gets cranked into the outfield bleachers. Did that against the Yankees his last time out. But with the wind blowing in and against the Cubs, who are in their worst split, they crush left-handed pitching. They're just outside the top 10 in WRC plus against righties. Green, 30% strikeout rate, a 234 expected batting average, 89% percentile on whiff rate. So I think he has a good start here. And I don't know if, the Cubs are going to be able to find the bleachers with the wind blowing in. We saw even against the Mets, obviously it was a little bit higher in the double digits, but the balls were just not really flying off the bat. And then Justin Steele has been incredible this year, a top 5% in average exit velocity, and his hard hit rate is only 25%. So of all the balls put in play, just a quarter of them are hit hard. Opponents have an expected slugging of 324 against him. Barrel rate is only 4%. So the ball's going to not fly off his arm or his pitches. He forces a lot of ground balls, and Cincinnati's 25th in WRC plus against right-handed pitching. So I'm expecting a low scoring rubber match here between both these arms. Both arms that I hold highly. I love Hunter Green, and so I'm hoping that he doesn't just serve 5 fastballs down the middle and it's cranked into the bleachers here. But I like the under 7.
Does it have to be 7? It's 6.5 now.
I would probably not play it at 6.5. I'd shop around. If there's a 7 out there, I'd grab that. If not, I would look. I mean, if you want to play the under and you like that look, I'd look toward the first 5 in that case then, because the bullpens are about average to slightly below average versus the starting pitchers I hold in much higher regard and think they can go deep into the game.
Okay. Yeah, Reds Cubs is the lowest total now at 6.5 at BetMGM. So, and that is a 2:20 start today at Wrigley Field. All right, gents, I think that's it. You both have a fantastic weekend. Enjoy it. We'll see where the Mets and the Red Sox are at after a couple days. Right. Memorial Day is still a measuring stick weekend. You kind of figure out if you're in it or you're not in it, sort of. Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
We'll be talking when Chris Sale's 5 innings, 5 runs. I'll at both of you on Twitter. Don't worry.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
Sean, I put this in. Zerillo is on the over tonight. 8.5. Red Sox and Diamondbacks. Let's see if the humidifier is in action in Arizona.
We'll see.
With the roof's open.
Yeah. Okay. Don't forget to follow guys like Charlie DiSturco, BJ Cunningham in the Action Network app, the free award-winning Action Network app. Leave us a 5-star rating and review for the podcast. We appreciate your feedback. Thanks to David, our producer, for getting us up and running all week long, and he'll get this out very soon. Brendan Glasheen, thanks for tuning in. Again, we're back Tuesday morning, everybody. We're taking Monday, taking the holiday off. We'll be back Tuesday morning for Payoff Pitch, Action Network's MLB betting podcast. Have a safe, phenomenal Memorial Day weekend, and we'll talk to you next week.